was born with limited horizons. Born on the other side of the tracks. I didn't think I could be anybody.
There's a lot of people that are drowning in something. Debt, relationship problems, life. And one thing they say is if somebody is drowning, don't go in and rescue them.
Regardless of the situation, we always have a choice. Regardless, we always have a choice.
Eating healthy, exercising, earning good money, saving, not having all of the things that trigger people because they're not willing to face the reality that they're not working on those things.
We've got far much more strength and potential than we're led to believe. Regardless of the pain I'm feeling, regardless of the hardship I'm feeling in that moment, I've got more to give.
If you looked at your life as a chapter of a book, I thought in a 12-chapter book that I was on chapter 10. So I was like, I'm only a couple of chapters away from completing life. And then I wake up and realise I'm not on chapter 10, I'm on fucking chapter 2. I ain't got a fucking clue what I'm talking about. And it humbles you. It humbles you a lot because that enabled me to realise a lot of things which I wasn't listening. Lessons will always repeat themselves until they're learned. And if you're not learning from these lessons, you're going to get a very big one. And some people don't recover from those lessons because they don't learn from them. So they repeat the same patterns, and it woke me the fuck up. Completely changed everything that I was doing, and very much like these things, I'm glad that they all happen. People are so afraid to make them that they don't push themselves into understanding them. And it's difficult because you can sit here on podcasts and interviews and tell people what they need to do, but unfortunately most people, there's a big difference between listening to somebody else and experiencing it yourself. And life is full of those obstacles and curveballs, but it's all down to how you look at them. You can look at them as negative things, or you can look at them as opportunities.
You know, the way that we're wired as humans, we won't do that. We're looking for the short-term comfort, and that leads to long-term pain.
You have to be naive to start and stubborn to finish. And anything that you go into, if you knew how much work was involved and how much sacrifice you had to make, discipline is a muscle which needs to be strengthened and built daily. And if you build that daily and maintain it, anything that life throws at you, you can deal with. And this is something that a lot of people say to me, what would you say to your 20-year-old self? And I'd say to him, you're loved and you're good enough. But in order to get that feeling of good enough, you need to put yourself in situations where you do things and then you say to yourself, yeah, you're good enough now. Because you can't just tell somebody that, they've got to experience it for themselves. And it's not until you step outside that jar that you actually see it, and the only way that you step out is when something traumatic happens.
Regardless of the situation, we always have a choice. Regardless, we always have a choice.
The obstacles that lie between you and your goals are not there to stop you from reaching your goals, but they are to stop the people who don't want them enough.
Or the problem a lot of people face when they're dealing with trauma is they're trying to be the person they were before the trauma, and you're not that person anymore.
So I have something inside me which, when you get to this breaking point and questioning something, it's the most magical thing, because it's exactly why that's happened.
I did what so many people do, and I believe we have this internal self-preservation system, if you want to call it that. So when we go through a traumatic event, we're able to lock away that short-term trauma, and that helps us get through the short term. We can push it away, get through the short term, but we should always go back to that. And I thought I could lock it away and forget it.
you know, I thought we were onto something here, and a curveball comes in, and you're like, is it a curveball though? Yeah, I'm not very spiritual, but if you were to look at this as going, right, cool, there's someone up there playing a big game, and it's like, these guys are good, and it's like, yeah, but how good are they? It's like, let's put it to the test. And they put this thing in front of you, and then you decide then to give it up and try something else, and then the people up there go, told you. Versus putting that obstacle in your way, and not only do you learn from it, you become better, and like, they deserve it. And you know, whatever thing you think of, if you can mentally visualize that when you go through a tough time, you're like, no, I know you're going, motherfucker. Let's see what you're made of. You've just got to go into it with a level of naivety. But when these things do come, you've just got to have a mindset about it to go, okay, cool, how bad do you want this? And I always think that when this is difficult, I remind myself, if this is difficult, then it's worth doing, because, you know, most people at this stage would have given up. So if you don't, you're going to get rewarded eventually by this. And you don't know when, there's not a timeline for this, but you will. You know, 10, 15 years time, you look back and there will be probably a split second moment where you're just like, it was all worth it. And I like these little moments, and the reason that these are great is because you can't read that from a book. You have to take yourself to a place where most people would be like, this is done. And the only person that has really been able to articulate that, what that is, has been David Goggins.
We are only at 40% of what we are capable of. The same thing to our brains. I was born with limited horizons. Born on the other side of the tracks. I didn't think I could be anybody. So my governor was myself. So once you take that governor off, you have limitless horizons.
Regardless of the situation, we always have a choice. Regardless, we always have a choice.
Thank you for watching the video. If you want to support the Mulligan Brothers, please head over to the website where you can get the new Memento Mori poster that is behind me to represent your life, and that time is precious and one day you will die. You fill it in as you go along. Use code STROIC at checkout for 10% off. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.